You're listening to Straight Outta Stratford 203 with Zach and Julian, the best sports podcast in Connecticut. Sit back and enjoy the ride in 3, 2, 1.
Straight Outta Stratford, slinging takes like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 20. I am your host, Zach, along with my co-host,
Julian. What's going on?
He's officially back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
So we have the original two here to do episode number 20.
Not bashing Mike because he did an amazing job when I was not here. So
yeah, no, Mike was awesome. I just want to give him a quick shout out. Obviously, thank you for coming on the show. You did a great job. We're going to have him on the show some other times as well, too. Obviously, he knows his stuff. He's got a very good mind to him. So we really do appreciate him filling in for that week. Obviously, we will have him, like I said, on other episodes. But at least we'll start episode 20 out in a good way. We did see the MLB season conclude officially, the end of Clayton Kershaw's career. He ends as a World Series champion as the Dodgers came back after being down 3-2 in the series in Game 5. They win Game 6 and win Game 7 to capture back-to-back World Series. It's the first time that we've had a back-to-back champion since 2000 with the New York Yankees, so 25 years. It's a very, very good run. Both teams should be thrilled with the way that they played during the series. Shout out to the Jays.
You know, the entire season I was sitting there like talking with my family, friends, and I was like, are the Jays really that good?
And they proved it,
And the entire season I was like, no. Like, it's just the Yankees had a bad stretch. They'll get them in the playoffs. Obviously, that didn't happen.
No.
And obviously, the Jays, I mean, they're looking that good. They're looking like they're gonna be that good. You have the Dodgers who just didn't really play their best baseball in those two games, but still found a way to scrap hits together. And when it mattered, you saw players come through like Max Muncy,
Mookie Betts turning it up in the last two games of the series. Yep.
Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith with a big home run in Game 7 as well. Yeah, there were a lot of big moments. The ones that I really look at myself is obviously Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who took home the MVP.
He deserved that MVP with.
Oh, no question about it. That was an unreal performance from him. Obviously, he pitched in 3 games during the World Series. He ended up, I believe, going 17 total innings, if I'm not mistaken, 17.2 total innings. Right. And he had 15 strikeouts, a 1.02 ERA, and 3 wins.
In the game, was it game 2, didn't he pitch a shutout?
He pitched yes, he did. Well, he pitched 6 innings in Game 2.
No, I thought it was a full game.
No, was it it was a complete game in Game 2.
In Game 2, yeah.
Yeah, then he pitched in Game
5.
Or no, he pitched in Game 6.
It was Game 6. It was Game 6.
It was Game 6. They were trying to bring him in for relief in Game 5, and they ended up not having to use him. Game 6, he came out and pitched really well again, and then obviously Game 7, they, games on the line later in the game, the 9th, 10th, and 11th innings, he comes in and pitched extremely well, helped them, win the whole thing.
He came in after not expecting to be called upon.
No, well, he volunteered to be called upon. He said, "I'm ready to go."
Yeah.
And me and Mike talked about this on the last episode as well too. I originally said to him that I thought that if the Dodgers won the World Series, that most likely that Shohei Ohtani was going to be the World Series MVP if the Dodgers did win.
Yeah.
The minute that happened, I immediately know. I was like, yeah, I think it's fair to say that Yoshinobu definitely deserves that.
So let's say they didn't win and the Blue Jays won. This is a hypothetical. Okay. Who do you think would have got the trophy for MVP?
To be honest with you, I think it would have been between 2 guys, realistically. I would have said Vladdy Guerrero Jr. was probably the number 1 just because of his batting average during the postseason. I mean, you could technically go Addison Barger. I thought he was definitely deserving of it as well, too. He had some big hits in the series.
I have a name.
Who's your name?
Trey Savage.
That could be an option because he did pitch fairly well in the series. I just think that since he wasn't as much used as Yamamoto was, so Vladimir Guerrero was in the lineup every day.
He pitched in 3 games, and Yamamoto also pitched in 3 games.
He did.
And Savage had, He had like 11 strikeouts or something.
I know. Me and Mike talked about that as well. He tied Sandy Koufax for the most strikeouts in the World Series for, I believe it's was it a rookie?
Yeah,
I think
rookie.
It was,
was a rookie.
And it was like I said, his performance was incredible too. I thought that he definitely helped sway the Blue Jays to being a favorite.
That was
after
game
4 or 5. I'm telling you, that was one of the best series. I will sit here and I'm going to say this now. I said this on the prior episode. I said it on the episode before that. This World Series was an absolute classic to watch, even if you're not someone who's a fan of either team.
No, I mean, you just sat there and it was good baseball for 7 games.
It was. And I know a lot of people were, like I said, skeptical because they were saying, oh, this is ridiculous that it's 2 of the top 5 payrolls in baseball and everyone wants to see different teams. They don't want to see the same teams over and over. But
I get the whole that, and they're like, oh, they're going to put a salary cap in now, like no baseball 2027. That's not the case.
Well,
like, Dodgers won it. Yes, they spend the most. Like, even Jason Kelce said it. What am I supposed to do? Root for a Canadian team that's not part of the United States, or root for a team that spends more money than anybody else? It's not that they spend more money because they do. It's that other teams aren't willing to go out there, right?
And spend that money.
You have teams like the A's and the Marlins who have really, really good young pieces on their team. And they have a young core, and they're looking they're headed toward the right direction finally. In however many years they were struggling for, right? And you go out there, and you see them offering contracts to several players, and they just get turned down immediately because it's not what the players want.
Well, it's like the same thing with the whole Detroit Tigers and Skubal. Supposedly, they offered him
$25 million for 4 years.
Which is ridiculous.
$25 million. Well, Skubal's worth way more than $25
No kidding. He's worth way more. But I do get your point with it as well, too. I'm just saying it for the sake of a lot of people were, like I said, they were annoyed saying, oh, it's always the Dodgers. Not so much the Blue Jays because this was one of the first years that they've really made a run, but people are sick of the Dodgers.
I don't think that the Blue Jays are going to be this successful again, though.
Well, there's no guarantee they are, too, because I know Bo Bichette's a free agent at the end of the year, and there's probably going to be some pieces
he already declined the qualifying offer from Toronto.
He's probably basically asking for more money, but I don't know if he leaves. But now, granted, my thing was, a lot of people were sick of seeing the Dodgers there because the past couple of years they've been a team that's always been very relevant. But the way I look at it is the games themselves, regardless of the payrolls, regardless of the money spent, it was great.
Here's what I'm going to say. Yes, the Dodgers are spending all this money. Yes, they're like the team that goes out in the offseason and buys everybody, but you didn't hear people complaining when maybe for a 5 or 6, maybe even 7-year period, the Houston Astros were in the World Series every single year, almost every year.
Yeah, no, that's a good point,
and you didn't hear them complaining because, well, at first nobody complained, but then once everything came out about what happened in the scandals, people were like, okay, maybe they shouldn't have made it that year. But you can't even like talk about that. But in the moment when you kept seeing Houston go back to the World Series against the Dodgers, and then they played the Phillies, and then they played the Nationals. Granted, they didn't win every single time, but they made it.
Yeah, I think it's also because they did scout fairly well, but I think the biggest thing about it is
the money.
Is the amount of money. I mean, the Astros spent money, but they're not spending $1 billion in an offseason.
Yeah,
they were spending a couple $100 million.
Another thing, you have the Dodgers, which I talked about this the last time I was on here, I believe. Smart with what they did with Shohei's contract, but I don't know if MLB could like void what they did or not void it, but because the Mets are doing the same thing to Bobby Bonilla, they're still paying him $1.2 million every year.
Don't even say that name.
Well, no, he's smart for that. But
I know.
What I'm saying is instead of the Dodgers paying Shohei $2 million a year and then giving him the rest when he's done, maybe Manfred should go to the Dodgers and say, look, you did something smart, but it's ruining the game of baseball. You either have 2 options. A, you just give him the money up front, or B, you figure out a way to swap it or adjust it. Instead of only giving him $2 million, you're giving him more than $2 million. Or what you're doing is you're giving him the $68 a year now, and then when he's done playing, you give him the $2 million.
So you're saying either shorten the sentence that he's getting paid afterwards?
No, keep it the same. Keep the extra 10 years or whatever, but instead of him getting paid $68 million during that period of time, it'll be more, they're giving him $2 million every year for the next 10 years after he's done.
Yeah.
So they have to pay him $68 million now instead of the $2 million that they're paying him.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure how they'd really go about that. Obviously, it's too late to do it now.
It's too late to do it now. But
I think that there's going to be something done by at least, like what we said, with the lockout potentially coming at the end of 2026. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something
I
they
wouldn't
kind
be
of
surprised
incorporate.
if they don't put a salary cap down.
Oh, there's no way. The players will not play.
But the players won't play. But this is kind of what I don't know how to say this. I'm not trying to base what I'm gonna. So I am gonna base what I'm saying off of a video game. This was newly added to the show. I believe it was this year or last year. When you're playing franchise now, when you used to play franchise, it used to be, and because I used to do it all the time, as the Yankees, I would go set the salary cap to whatever, like no salary cap, and just buy every single top free agent that was available. But this year, they made it so you can only talk to 3 free agents at a time. So you have your top option, your second option, and your third option.
I could potentially see that being an option maybe too.
And,
I don't know.
And you can't even offer them a contract until they have 50% interest.
Yeah.
And if they don't have 50% interest and they're like borderline deciding to sign with another team, they give you an option to like a now or never. But like other than that, you can't go out and you can't sign Kyle Tucker, you can't sign Cody Bellinger, you can't sign all the top players that you want to sign because it's not an option anymore.
Yeah, no, I think that something will be incorporated to it at some point. I don't know.
As much as I don't like that feature added to the game, or if it were added to I feel like it would balance out the amount of, because when you're looking at a roster in the offseason, your main concern is how can I fix what we didn't have?
Yeah.
And you see players and teams like, oh, I want this much money. I don't want to give you that much money. So you can go talk to other people and then blah, 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 blah. Like, you know?
Similar to what Pete Alonso basically
But at the last second, you have a team like the Dodgers that comes in. Well, it's not really the last second, but you have a team like the Dodgers that says, hey, I'll give you what you want.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Dodgers tend to do that a lot too. But like I said, this
and
is
then
something
you have,
that
you
will
have
be
teams
talked
like the Marlins and the A's who don't have that kind of money, and players aren't going to go there.
No, I know.
They have a young core, but they're veteran players. Their lack of not talent, but lack of superstardom.
Yeah, no, their lack of superstar talent is way less. No, you're
because you
right.
have players like Nick Kurtz on the A's, and then you have Jacob Wilson, and then you have Lawrence Butler.
Yeah, well, we both said that at the same time. I was about to say you can't forget that name.
No,
either.
I wasn't going to forget Lawrence Butler.
No, I know. It's just I think that there's going to be something done at some point. I believe it should be, obviously, like I said, when the lockout comes by 2026, I think they'll have a better idea about it.
A's also have Shea Langoliers.
They do, yes. Even though he's not, and Brent Rooker.
Shea Langoliers isn't that old.
Well, he's not that old. I just said he's not as high up as some of those other guys.
He's pretty good.
He's good. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying he's not at the same level as Nick Kurtz is, or as Jacob Wilson is. Those guys are contenders for Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Those guys are incredible. But anyway, back to the whole little World Series thing. We can kind of wrap it up with that. Obviously, like I just said before, something will happen down the road with the whole contract situation. I hope it gets figured out. I doubt it's a salary cap because I know it's something that the players are very, very against. I don't think
one player that
happens.
is very, very against it is
Bryce Harper. Yeah, Bryce Harper definitely voiced his opinion about it, and I believe he told Manfred to get the hell out of
Manfred, he said, if you're coming in here talking about adding a salary cap, get the F out of the locker room. I don't want you in here.
Yeah, get the F out of the clubhouse. Exactly. So I would not be surprised if they kind of avoid that, but there's going to be a way that it ends up being solved.
At least the salary floor.
Maybe, yeah, I think that would potentially be better and force teams that are, because all of them are making decent money, to go out and actually spend money to go get players. The minimum that you can spend is X amount of dollars.
The only team that I would say has not the right to go out and not spend any money, but the reason to do it is the A's, because they are currently building their stadium.
Yeah, so they're spending a lot of money.
They're spending a lot of money on building the actual stadium.
Yeah,
so
but they could probably still spend, and they shouldn't be worried about it anyway. I mean, the
Even-
stadium's a lot, but
even like the Rays, but the Rays just aren't.
Sure, but we'll, like we said, we'll potentially see something down the line. For
Hopefully,
that.
it gets resolved without there being another lockout.
I think it'll get worked out.
Because there was a lockout a few seasons ago, right? And there was missed 40, 50 games.
Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they miss a few games and the lockout ends up happening. But I think that they'll come up with some decent solution. But at the end of the day, like I said before, obviously, as someone who's not a fan of either the Blue Jays or the Dodgers, you can't help but appreciate the fact that was a great World Series to watch. Back and forth action, Game 7, every game people were on their feet or, on the edge of their seats. It was incredible to watch, and I hope that we get to see something like that again down the line, maybe not with the same teams, but to the same level of competitiveness. It was awesome.
Now that I'm thinking about it, right? You mentioned the lockout, and this got me thinking because, I mean, everyone knows here I'm a Yankee fan. The year Judge hit 62, it wasn't a full 162-game season. Because there was a lockout the offseason prior. And they did miss I'm telling you, they missed a good month into that season. I am telling you right now.
Go ahead and look it up.
I believe that was the 2022 season, right?
I don't know. I don't. For
some
some reason that doesn't sound right.
It was my senior year of high school, and then
let's see. Aaron Judge, 62 home run season. I don't think so.
There was a lockout.
Yeah, but how many games did they play?
Hold on, it's telling me right now. It said it lasted 99 days from December 2nd to March 10th. Usually, baseball, January, February, it's usually... They started spring training in March, so they probably started opening day mid-April. They probably played.
They still played the same amount of games.
They did?
Yes, they finished the season 99-63 in 2022. That's 162 games. They played it. They just started it later and I guess condensed the amount of breaks that they had. I was about to say there's no way that they missed games. I would have known about that too because that would have been something they talked about. I figured they didn't miss any games. It started late.
That's because I knew it started late and I wasn't sure if it was a full 162 game season. So
no. I was gonna say,
you can't blame me for thinking that it wasn't. Yeah,
I get it, but yeah, no. Anyway, great World Series that we were able to watch. I hope that we get to see something that's that competitive again. But we'll kind of move off the MLB obviously for a little while up until the free agency thing starts to heat up. Obviously, there are top players that are available.
Kyle
Or
Tucker.
starting to become available now. Yeah, so we'll start going through them at some point.
That'll be more of
a
next week's.
Yeah, kind of next week. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a few weeks from now just because no one's really knowing how it's going to go, but we will talk about that at some point. I do want to touch a little bit on two other sports that are going on right now before we get to the big guns, which is college football and NFL,
football.
Obviously. So we'll kind of touch on the NBA and NHL a little bit. Obviously, for the NBA and NHL both, we're very early in the season for both sports. Obviously, I think it's only a couple weeks in. Each team maybe has played, I know for the NBA it's less. I think they've played 9 games each. NHL, some teams are literally sitting at 12, 13, 14 games. But
one player in the NBA that has been impressive this year, he's always been known to have that kind of talent and ability. But according to Nico, what was the Mavericks GM?
Nico Harrison.
Nico Harrison, he's out of shape.
Oh yeah, Luka Doncic.
He's almost, I don't know what he dropped the other night against the Spurs, but before that he was averaging 41 points.
Yeah, he
only did play 4 games to that point, but averaging 41 through 4 games is still pretty impressive.
Well, actually, I'll tell you.
And he was only shooting 30% from 3.
Yeah. So hold on. Well, this is where I was kind of going with it a little bit too. So so far, we'll talk about the teams that have really impressed us. I'm going to keep it a very short list because obviously I could sit here and say what teams have been good, what teams have been bad, and run through every single team. But so far, the number one, like I said, was the LA Lakers. I mean, very good start for them this year. Start out 7-2 without LeBron. Obviously, LeBron is older, so we're not sure how he's going to come out. But that's a big piece.
LeBron's LeBron.
LeBron's LeBron. He's going to find a way to contribute in a big way. But like you said, Luka Doncic through 5 games this year is currently averaging 40 points a game, while Austin Reeves, another one, 7 games played, 31 points a game he's averaging. It's incredible. They also got to step up and play from Rui Hachimura, who's been very good for them this year, and DeAndre Ayton, who actually has stepped up in his play as well. They're currently second in the Western Conference right now, and they're riding a 5-game win streak, I believe, at this point. So that's one team that I had to kind of bring up. They've been very, very good so far. I mean, it's not really a surprise with the guys that they have. I think it's fair to say that it's not a shocker. But getting LeBron back, it's going to be
now the next team that we have here is a shocker.
Yeah, and that's the Chicago Bulls.
Nobody expected the Bulls to be 6-1.
No, well, especially since you look at it, this is where I kind of brought this up. They finished 10th in the East last year. They were 39-43. They're 6-1 on the season,
and
right
they
now.
They lost a few bench pieces in the offseason too.
They did, and they're also sitting without Kobe White right now as well too. He has
not
not
played
Kobe
a game White,
yet.
and you're thinking, oh, for somebody who doesn't really follow basketball, you're probably thinking, oh, well, at least they got Zach LaVine running the floor. No, Zach LaVine is not on the Bulls.
Yeah, he's been gone for a little bit now.
They traded him at the deadline last year. Zach LaVine's not on the Bulls.
Yeah,
Lonzo Ball is gone.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are gone. Right now, the only 2 guys that I saw, obviously there are some names, so I'm not as big of a basketball guy as others are.
Let's look up the...
I know right now their team is being led by Josh Giddey and Nikola Vucevic. Those are the 2 guys that are leading them in points per game right now.
Josh Giddey...
He's averaging 23.1 points per game, and Vucevic is averaging 19.3 points a game, which, again, very, very good start from the Bulls. There are a couple other guys that are younger players that I wasn't really sure who they were at first.
Matas Buzelis.
Yeah, I mean, my point exactly is there are guys that not many people really knew going into this year that have stepped up big time and contributed to their big 6-1 run that they're on right now.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe White was the make or break guy.
Yeah, and like I said, not having him on that lineup and being able to be 6-1 right now is very, very impressive, to say the least. Obviously, I don't know if it's sustainable. I think that the Bulls have definitely shocked a lot of people. I don't know if they're going to be favorites to win no Eastern Conference.
No.
Obviously, there's a lot of very good teams in the East this year, surprisingly. So, obviously, their run has been impressive, to say the least, so far. So that's why I had to include them in the list. I don't know if they're going to continue that way. No one really does. No one knows how a season's going to end up panning out up until it does.
So you have Giddey averaging 23 points, 23.1 points.
Yep.
9.1 assists. And then you have Vucevic averaging 19.3 points per game.
Probably high up in rebounds, too.
With 12 rebounds.
Yep, there you go.
And then you have Ayo DeSumo averaging 16, and then Busele is averaging 14.
Yeah, so they're getting production from guys that not many people would have known before the season really started. I mean, unless you follow college basketball really close or you follow international like they do in France, because I know obviously that's where Wembanyama came from, which is another team that we're going to transition into now, is the San Antonio Spurs. The big reason why they've been as good as they've been
is
Wembanyama has been absolutely nuts to start the year.
He has gotten so much flack during his career, like, yeah, Wembanyama's good, but is he just going to turn out like Chet? He was compared to Chet, how Chet always gets hurt. I'm not saying Chet's not a good player, because Chet obviously is a really great basketball player.
He's an NBA champion right now,
not taking anything away from him, but Chet Holmgren was his entire rookie season, he was hurt. His actual rookie season. And then I think he did win Rookie of the Year the next year, or was it Wemby? No, I think Wemby might have won it.
I definitely think that Wemby won it.
But he was in the race with Wemby for Rookie of the Year.
If he was in the race the year before, he probably would have ended up winning it as well.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that you see Wemby, but when you look at Chet, you don't see Chet at the three-point line.
No. Not very
shooting,
frequent.
not
As frequent as Victor.
You have Wemby almost every game taking at least 9 threes per game. Not making, just taking 9 3-point shots per game. And from a big guy, and who probably hits half of those.
Well, the thing that I talked about with a lot of other people, too, in regards to Wembanyama is the fact that I think that he's an extremely good player. He's definitely cemented himself as a top player in this league so far this year. The big thing that I've always said, though, is in playoff basketball, when you start playing against the top teams, especially in a Western Conference that is very, very good,
yes,
I'm worried about his production level because he's very skinny. If he put on muscle and was like Giannis-sized with the muscle, he would be the most terrifying player in the NBA by far.
Yes, he is only 21 years old, too.
Yeah, he's very, very young, and he's already incredible. Now, granted, it's going to take time, and as he gets older, I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the biggest things that, the Spurs organization has told him, is that he needs to bulk up. Because when you start playing against guys like Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo and some of these other guys, they're big boys. They're going to start throwing the body around and being bruisers. Even a guy like Draymond, who's not as tall, is not afraid to bump you and throw you around.
Yeah, Jordan Poole knows that.
Yeah, and it's for him, that's my biggest thing. When it comes to talent, the guy is off the charts, man. His shooting, his presence everywhere on the floor, what he can do with the ball, whether it be passing, shooting, rebounding, getting steals, blocks, you name it. The guy is incredible. He's an incredible player.
He's averaging 25 on a 50% field goal percentage.
Yeah.
And 12.9, so almost 13 rebounds per game.
Yeah, and he's averaging, I think, 4 blocks a game. 4
blocks. He's 3.1 at like.
The guy is incredible. You got to tip your hat. And the reason why I was more impressed about the Spurs is not just because of Wembanyama. He's a big reason. But the thing for me is it's Wembanyama along with Stephon Castle, who's also been very, very good. He's averaging about 2 steals a game, 5.7 assists per game. I mean, he's still scoring as well, too. But the one part that made me like...
DeJounte Murray?
No. De'Aaron Fox has still not played yet this year.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I knew because they were both on. I don't know if they were both on the Kings.
They both were at one point. Yeah, but De'Aaron Fox has yet to play a game this year. And a lot of people forget how electric that guy is. He's incredible.
What team is DeJounte Murray? Is he on the Pelicans?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because he's not on the Hawks anymore. The Hawks got rid of him.
But still, going to the whole De'Aaron Fox thing, this team is extremely good. Extremely good.
He is on the Pelicans.
I would not be surprised if the Spurs, before the deadline this year, make another move to really bolster if they can continue to compete the way that they do.
DeJounte Murray is on the Pelicans.
Is he?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But
him and Zion, he's averaging 17 points.
He ain't De'Aaron Fox, though. De'Aaron Fox is...
But no, that was last year's
a player that I love. I've always liked him his whole career, even when he was on the Sacramento Kings as well. I thought he was a really good player. He's extremely good. And I think he's a little underrated, to be honest.
Didn't Halliburton also get... what team drafted Halliburton? This is random, but what team drafted Halliburton?
I think it was the Kings.
That's exactly what I was... I think he was on the Kings. That's why it made me think about that.
Mm-hmm. No, I believe he was. But those are the 3 teams, at least, that I think have really impressed us.
I think they were all on the Kings at the same time. It was Halliburton, Murray, and Fox.
Yeah, they're the Miami Marlins of basketball. They had that super stacked roster, and then all the players go other places, and they become superstars. Well, that's how it goes. Yeah. That's always how it goes.
Well, they had the one established superstar in De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
And then
he obviously left. But anyway, those are the teams that really impressed us, at least so far. There have been 2 teams that I will touch on very quick that I think kind of were a little bit underwhelming, to be fair. Now, one of them, it's understandable. The other one, it's like a little bit of a reach, but I don't really care. So the first one is the Orlando Magic. Obviously, they were a much better and much more competitive team last year. They finished, I believe it was 7th in the Eastern Conference
last season. Yeah, I was about to say, they made the playoffs.
Yeah, they were a very good team last year. And a lot of people were saying, oh, well, they have, some young guys on their roster like Paolo Banchero, who's been extremely good in his career. They have both the Wagner brothers. They are not brothers. I don't know if they're brothers or not. They have Franz and Moritz, both, on that team. And they also added Desmond Bane during the offseason. So everyone thought that this team was going to take another step forward. And
it's still early in the season.
I know.
But they only do play 82 games. And the thing is they're struggling. And within the next 2 or 3 weeks, there's going to be a point where you see the Magic say, all right, we're picking things up. At the deadline, we're going to be buyers, or they could pivot and say,
we're going to be sellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, which I saw, I believe it's Franz Wagner is hurt. He's out. So
that could be because Franz Wagner is also another. He was the number 2 option aside from Banchero.
Oh, yeah.
For felicitating points. And with Wagner out.
That's a problem.
And they don't have Cole Anthony anymore. They got rid of Cole Anthony, too.
I believe so. I think you're right. I don't remember what team he's on. I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's on Dallas. Is he Dallas now? Because that's another team that we're going to talk about as well, too, is how bad
Milwaukee.
Dallas has been. Oh, yeah, he's on Milwaukee. You're right. Has been Dallas, how bad they've been. Now, a lot of people will sit here and say, oh, well, they still don't have Kyrie back. Anthony Davis has been banged up. All I'll say on that so far is the reason why I put them as a little underwhelming is Cooper Flagg is definitely not the favorite to win Rookie of the Year as of right now. I think VJ Edgecombe has the lead in that race so far. He hasn't really been as good as advertised. Now, granted, it's his rookie year. He's very, very young. He's going to be a good player. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be a good player. But from what people were expecting out of him in his first year, he has not looked nearly where he was supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, that could have something to do with it because when you look at it, right, you're coming into a new league and you're the consensus number 1 overall pick. Was he not taking number 1?
No, he was taking number 1. He was the consensus number 1 pick in the draft.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was the consensus number 1 pick, and he has all this pressure. Because you even saw Wemby in his rookie season when he was taken number 1. You saw for the first few months of the season, like the first month or two, he wasn't the Wemby that was dominant.
No. That's similar to how Cooper Flagg's been. How Cooper
Flagg.
Cooper Flagg has been so far.
You literally didn't say it wrong at all.
I said Flagg's been or something like that. It just came out weird to me a little bit.
Well,
but they started out 2-6. But the reason why I think that they've really struggled is obviously Cooper Flagg's field goal percentage so far has not been good. But there's one guy that they brought in, other than Anthony Davis, who, again, is banged up. Not really a shocker. He's always hurt. Sorry to say. He's a great player, but he very rarely stays on the court. Kyrie still hasn't played yet either. But the guy that everyone expected to be another big help and has not been is Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson has not looked good.
He has not been – yet again, he's another guy whose career got derailed by injuries.
Yeah. Absolutely, but – not to the same degree as Anthony Davis, though.
Well,
with the amount of injuries, maybe not as derailed because Davis is still good.
The severity of them is bad. Because I know I believe he tore something in his leg when he was on the
Davis or Klay?
Klay when he was on the Warriors, or he did something that made him miss whole entire the rest of the season.
I think he almost missed 2 years. He missed the end of one year and then the next full season.
And then in his road to recovery, he did the same thing in the other leg.
Yeah.
And he missed almost 2 years of basketball.
Yeah, I remember they did that big intro for him.
He missed like 600 or something days, or maybe might have even been close to like 1,000 or something.
No, definitely not 1,000.
Hold on.
You could look that one up.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing is, at least for him, he has not looked like the Klay that we've seen before in Golden State. Now, granted, nobody expected him to be the exact same. Obviously, he's much older now than he was during those years, but people thought that he was going to be at least a solid role player for Dallas and help out. And I don't know what his stat line really looks like in regards to points. I know it's not that many. I know his shooting percentage has been a lot lower than what people would have expected for him in a stepped-up role with guys like Kyrie out and Davis missing some time. Even DeMarcus, I believe, not DeMarcus Russell. What the hell? D'Angelo Russell is also on the Mavericks. I haven't really heard his name brought up very much either.
In Game 6 of the 2019 Finals against the Raptors, he tore his left ACL.
Yeah.
Missed the entire 2019-2020 season. Right before the 2020 season, in November of 2020, just before the start of the 2020-2021 season in a pickup game, he tore his right Achilles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he went from...
And he missed the entire 2020-2021 season.
Yeah, so he missed 2 years in a row.
And he didn't return to play until January of 2022.
Yeah. So he missed literally almost 2.5 years.
Yes.
Which is, again, crazy. It sucks because he was a good player, but getting back to him a little bit more, like I said, the Mavericks are 2-6 right
It
now.
says he missed over 900 days.
Oh.
So it was, I said,
Yeah,
close to 1,000.
Close to 1,000. You're right. They've been 2-6 through 8 games. Clay has not really looked that great. Haven't really heard D'Angelo Russell do very much. Cooper Flagg has not looked as good as advertised. Anthony Davis is banged up again. Kyrie Irving still has not seen the court. They've had a lot of issues so far. Now, granted, if this team is fully healthy and they're fully kicking and they could start getting organized, there's no doubt that they could turn it around too.
Yeah.
That they're going to be a good team. It's just a matter of when. Just so far this season, I think it's fair to say they've been a little
To be exact, it was 941 days you went without playing a single minute.
You were
of
very
basketball.
close to 1,000. Very, very close to 1,000. So that's my mistake. I was wrong. I said, there's no way. But, yep, you were 100% right. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of it for the NBA that we could talk about for now.
Well, one thing I want to say quickly, which I think is hilarious. When the Rockets played the Grizzlies, Kevin Durant saw Ja's father. And he saw him, and he was talking to him, and he said, look, listen. This is your last weekend here or your last home game here because I think the Grizzlies are going on a road trip. He goes, take it all in. He goes, your son wants out. This is the last time you're going to be on the court side here. He goes, enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, KD's a troll, dude. I love it.
But that leads to the point where if Ja does want out, where does he go?
That's something that I would have to do a little bit of research on to see what teams could really use him, what teams are, probably going to be ones that are interested in getting him that really need to fill a certain position. Obviously, it's not like going to be the Knicks or something like that.
I mean, I was gonna say I saw online several Knicks fan pages like saying that they want him in the you don't want him because then you look at the team that the Knicks have that they're doing somewhat fairly well. They're 5-3.
Yeah. Undefeated at home. They're 5-0 at home.
They're 5-0 at home, 5-3 on the season. They just beat the Timberwolves, who aren't that bad of a team.
Beat them bad too.
Yeah,
blew them out 137-114. I believe the final score was.
That's bad. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You have a team like that with the Knicks, where they're finally using their bench, and you want them to go get John Morant?
Yeah. No,
trust me. Who can't stay healthy for an entire season?
No. And plus has enough off-court drama and even on-court drama. It's great player.
The talent is there for Ja. You just don't need him in New York.
No, I agree with that too.
You don't need Ja in New York. You don't need Giannis in New York. You don't need.
Yeah, no. Trust me. Like I said, I don't know what teams really are going to need him. Knicks, please no, no. But anyway, we'll get off the NBA talk. Maybe. We'll get off the NBA talk a little bit since we did mention that there's a 5-0 team in New York. Obviously, there's a team that's also 0-5 at home in New York so far.
In the same arena.
In the same arena, which sucks. But we'll talk a little bit about the NHL now. I could kind of run through this fairly quickly as well, too. Basically, we're going to do something a little bit similar to what we did with the NBA. Just talk about some teams that have really excelled so far, some teams that have started out very slow, except we'll kind of reverse it. I want to talk about the struggling squads first because there's been a couple of them on this list, or at least two of them that I have on my list, that people are going to be like, oh my goodness, if you've never watched hockey and you looked at the Stanley Cup last year and then you look at the NHL season this year and see the way that they're going, you're going to be shocked. And those two teams are the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers. I also do have the Rangers on that list as well, too. But we'll touch with Florida and Edmonton a little bit first before I go on my little spiel with the Rangers at least. So I know it's still early in the year. There's a lot of hockey left as well. Like I said, they've only played about 14, 13, 12 games each. Obviously, their schedules are different, so some have played 12, some have played 14. But Florida so far this year has not really looked as good as they were in prior years. Obviously, they are the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, so people expected a lot out of them this year and expected results to be fairly similar. They have been a little bit banged up, especially the big one for them that really screwed them was losing Alexander Barkov, their captain, before the season started. He ended up, I believe, tearing his ACL before the year started, so he was set to miss some time. Obviously, the roster is deep enough as it is, so I think that they still are good it's not really a shock that this team can be good once again to me. But so far, they're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, or like in the bottom 8 of the Eastern Conference, which is not good for them. Like I said, there's a couple guys that have been banged up for them, and I think that once they get those guys back, they will kind of transition into being a better squad. I would be very, very surprised if they do not make the playoffs again this year. I think that they're going to make it again, especially as defending Stanley Cup champs. The other team that I mentioned that was also in the Stanley Cup back-to-back years was the Edmonton Oilers. Another one, like I said, when you have guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard, the team is extremely good. And so far, they are currently also sitting out of a playoff spot in the Western Conference right now. Like I said, early in the year, things can change very quick. This is a team that the past couple of seasons has been rough to start the year, and then they end up finding their rhythm, their groove, and they make a big push in the second half of the season. So it's hard to hold all the weight against them, but at least so far, they've definitely struggled a little bit more than what I would have expected. Obviously, nobody, I think, has struggled worse than the New York Rangers. I mean, other than some other bottom-feeding teams, but a team that in 2023 and 2024 looked like they were primed to make a Stanley Cup run in that 23-24 season.
They
lose to the eventual the eventual Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I remember there was a game they were up, I think it was 3-1, and they wound up losing in overtime.
Yeah, like I said, the Rangers ended up losing to them in that series as well. They were up.
I forgot who they played. I think it was last Thursday or last Friday. I forgot. Might have been last Thursday. Who did they play last Thursday?
Did they win the game or lose the game?
They won in overtime.
It was at Edmonton.
Yeah.
That's my point.
That's
is the fact
exactly.
that they beat Edmonton. Yeah, they were losing 3-1. They came back and won.
Well, because I was looking, I was just like, because I was in Florida, I was looking for bonus bets, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw, 15 minutes left, Rangers are down 3-1. I put the under on the total goals. What do you think the under was?
Probably 4 or 5.
It was 6.5.
6.5, and they ended up scoring 7. Yeah, what a shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't sports bet, people.
Yeah,
you'll lose your money. But like I said, the Rangers being in that year, 2023-2024 season, was incredible, especially for me as a fan. And then they end up getting knocked out. The 2024 season comes around, and they were not good.
No.
They fire their head coach, and not only did they fire their coach, they changed a ton of personnel. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say that the expectations were high, but the reason why I put them on the struggling squads list is because they currently sit at the bottom of the Eastern Conference right now. On top of the fact that if you look at this team from 2 years ago, sitting at the top of the NHL.
There's not really a difference.
No, exactly. But sitting at the top of the NHL a few years ago.
Yeah.
To now being one of the worst teams in the NHL, especially for a fan, it bites. It sucks. And especially seeing other guys do extremely well in locations after they've left the Rangers, which is something that I'll bring up now with the teams that are actually playing really well. The squads
now you know how it feels to be a New York Giants fan.
Well, of course, I know. Thank God I'm not.
Hey.
Sorry. But just saying. Go Rams. Anyway, but yeah, so like I said, there are a bunch of players that have left the Rangers and started really doing well, and that's going to be my segue into this next little bit, and those are the teams that are playing extremely well. One of those teams is the Anaheim Ducks, a team that the Rangers have made many trades with over the past couple of seasons. You currently see guys like Frank Vetrano, who's a former Ranger, Ryan Strome, who's a former Ranger, Chris Kreider, who's a former Ranger, Jacob Trouba, who's a former Ranger, all on the Ducks. And right now, the Ducks sit at second in the Western Conference in points. They look like they've been one of the best teams. This is a team that has not made the playoffs since 2018. And right now, they've been one of the better teams. They've been super exciting to watch. Kreider has 9 goals in 9 games for them. They've gotten production out of a lot of their young guys, which, I said it when I went to go see the Rangers play Anaheim a few seasons ago. Seeing guys like Leo Carlsson, Cutter Gauthier, Troy Terry, Mason McTavish, these guys are extremely good players. I remember, I think it was Leo Carlson made a move on somebody in the Rangers game or scored against him, and I remember looking at somebody next to me, and I said to him, that move was disgusting. This kid is incredible. He's only, I believe, 21 years old. Their team is very, very young, and they have a very bright future. I love the way that they've looked so far this season. They've been extremely impressive. They've been one of the biggest surprises for me so far this year. And I believe they currently are riding a 5-game win streak. This team is much better than what I would have expected and a lot of others would have expected before the year started. They've been a great watch so far. Hopefully they're a team that ends up making the playoffs. Like I said, it's basically like the Rangers making the playoffs because half the Rangers are over there anyway. So I might as well root for Anaheim a little bit, especially since they're in the Western Conference. That's been one team. Another team, which pains me, it's something I brought up with Mike on the show, was the resurgence of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, that's another team that struggled over the past couple of seasons. Maybe not so much last year. Last year was a big...
They're looking to take their sport back.
Yeah, they are. And like I said, last year they made a run towards the end of the year when the Rangers got knocked out of the playoffs. They actually finished right behind Montreal, who finished with the number 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. Obviously led by a former Ranger himself in Marty St. Louis. Hockey legend for sure. One of my favorites to watch. He's local to the Connecticut area as well too. So got to give a lot of respect to him. But he lived in Montreal, or I believe it was Quebec in his life. That's where he was born.
Speaking of hockey legends, one of them became the first player ever to record 900 goals in his career.
I'm glad you cut me off and said that too, because I completely just breezed it. I wasn't even going to say anything about it, and I should have. Alexander Ovechkin reaches 900 career goals, first player ever to do so.
And the puck was tried to be stolen by the goalie of the opposite team.
Yep, Jordan Binnington. What a shock.
Put the puck right in his pants.
Now, for a friend of mine, I don't know if he's going to watch the show or not. Hopefully he does and he sees this. Well, a buddy of mine, Charlie, who's a St. Louis Blues fan. I went to his wedding a few years ago. I played hockey with him in college.
Yeah.
Jordan Binnington is a scumbag, okay? He's an absolute nutcase. I know you're a Blues fan. I don't say it to be mean, but that dude is out of his mind. He did end up saying jokingly at the end that he planned on returning the puck. I don't know so much about that.
I think he might have wanted to sell it.
No, I think that he probably wanted to keep it because that's something. Dude, that is a piece of hockey history right there. Alexander Ovechkin's 900th career goal, first to ever do it.
Ovechkin might not even get to keep that puck.
No, he's keeping that puck. Trust me, I can promise you. There's no doubt. And obviously, the goal that broke Gretzky's record, he's 1,000,000% keeping unless they decide to put that in the Hockey Hall of Fame, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do. That may end up being in the Hockey Hall of Fame, is the 900. Whatever his final goal is, I think will end up being the one in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But anyway, hats off to Ovechkin. He's been one of my favorite players to watch as much as he tormented me as a Rangers fan for years. You got to give credit where credit's due. The guy's the best natural goal scorer I've ever seen in my life. Obviously the best that's ever played the game.
He's up there, and he's not young either.
No, I don't know how old he is. I know he's at least 39, I believe, or 38. He's up there in age. So, obviously he's getting towards the later stages of his career, but he's been incredible to watch.
He is 40.
Oh, he's 40. Okay, yeah. So, again, getting very close to the end of his career, but he's still extremely talented. Again, congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin for doing that. I'm glad you said something. But getting back to the Montreal Canadiens, kind of refreshing on it. So, led by Marty St. Louis, the team's been extremely good so far over the past couple seasons. Last year was a big bounce-back year for them. This year, they've started out as one of the league's best teams. You've seen a lot of production from their young guys, which is something that me and Mike, again, we touched on at some point during the last episode, is the NHL now, I feel, is a lot of young guys are really taking the reins over and becoming the big superstars. And you see it, a perfect example with Montreal. You have guys like Lane Hudson, who's been extremely good for Montreal. A guy named Ivan Demidov, who's been incredible so far, as I believe this is his full rookie year. Now, granted, he played a few games last season, but this is his full first season. So he's been another one that's really good so far. Obviously, you don't have to say much about their captain and their other top player in Cole Caulfield. Obviously, Nick Suzuki, their captain's been extremely good so far this year. They have a lot of guys on that team that are extremely impressive. And a lot of people, there's another name that I didn't even mention, and that's Noah Dobson. the guy that they acquired from the Islanders last year. I mean, this team has been extremely impressive to watch under the leadership of Martin St. Louis. As a fan of hockey, it's great to see a team like Montreal really be that next level team again, because any of the original sixes being good is it's a great thing for the sport itself. Those are some insane fan bases, especially one like Montreal. They've been extremely fun to watch as well, too. The youngest roster in the NHL right now by average age. They've been incredible. So that's another team I wanted to touch on. And then the final one, again,
Utah Mammoth.
I said them the last episode as well, too. I will continue. Of course. I will continue to talk about them until they start to fall off. But they've been another one. Again, I said it last episode. This team, I love their uniforms so much. I love their logo. I love the mascot. But the thing I love the most is, again, the young talent taking over. I didn't say the guy's name last episode, and I should have said it, and I'm upset that I didn't. And that's Nick Schmaltz. Now, I know he's a little bit older than some of the younger guys that I brought up. He currently leads the team right now with 18 points. He's been extremely good so far this year. Obviously, I mentioned guys like Logan Cooley and Clayton Keller and Dylan Gunther, J.J. Peterka. I forgot Mikhail Sergachev, who was on that team as well, too. They have been another team that has been extremely impressive to watch so far this year. They are ranked up in the Western Conference as well. Obviously, they still kind of sit a little bit behind Colorado, another team that I've liked to watch a lot. So far, even though the Rangers have not been as good, it's kind of allowed me to go back and sit down and watch other teams play and see the top talent that people talk about a lot more. Like, obviously, I watch hockey, but being able to kind of deep dive in and see firsthand all these guys, not just the highlights, they've been extremely impressive. A lot of these teams have been good. A couple other teams I will just give quick shout-outs to, which, again, pains me for some of them. So the New Jersey Devils currently sit, at the top of the Eastern Conference right now. They've looked very good. Pittsburgh Penguins, another one, very unexpected.
Gotta say the Devils do have a nice stadium. I went to a concert there when I was in high school, my sophomore year, and their stadium is very nice.
It ain't MSG though.
It's not MSG.
Sorry.
I'm not bashing MSG,
No,
but I'm saying
saying
it's not as bad as like some of the others. Like,
Yeah, I know.
and their pretzels are shaped like their logo, which I do think is pretty cool. But other than that,
no comment. Yeah.
well,
I'm
no,
not a
because
fan,
we'll think about it.
but
When you go to a sporting event, what other team does that?
probably not many.
Exactly. But
Well,
that's still like but back when I was in my sophomore year of high school, I was probably like 15 or 16. And at that age, something like that would be appealing.
Cool, yeah.
Would be appealing to
to a kid your age. Yeah, of
exactly.
Course. No, it makes
like
sense.
they're doing all the things right to draw in the younger fan base, because when you think of hockey, you don't really see as much of a younger fan base as you do in like basketball or football and sometimes even baseball.
Somewhat. Yeah, I could definitely see where that's coming from. But yeah, no, we'll kind of transition off the hockey stuff. I just wanted to give shout outs to a couple of those teams as well, too. We'll kind of get into some college football now. We'll start focusing on the big guns here. We'll kind of run through this quick as well, too, because I know that there's a lot of NFL news, obviously, with the trade deadline that had passed, as well as some other news as well, and obviously our picks for the week. But for the college football, at least, this was another week of a ton of upsets. Not a surprise. But upsets like crazy. You saw number 8 Georgia Tech get upset by unranked NC State. They ended up losing the game 48-36. Haynes King had a great day. Obviously, he threw for 408 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Also ran for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. But obviously, letting up 48 points, it's very hard to win those games, Georgia Tech's defense allowed 583 yards on the day. Not a great day from them. Obviously, they will take a bump down in the rankings as well, too, after losing a game to an unranked team in that fashion. I know a lot of people are...
That was their first loss.
First loss of the year. That was huge. That was very surprising. I mean, Georgia
How
Tech
are they not higher up than 8?
Strength of schedule. That's why. They haven't really played as many great teams. And obviously then they lose to NC State. That's going to hurt your ranking a little bit. One that I know a lot of people are probably going to be chirping me in the comments about right now, and that is after the number 20 Texas Longhorns upset number 9 Vanderbilt in Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And Arch Manning.
The Arch Manning, finally showed up.
Well, this is what I'll say on it. He did have in the game.
How'd Pavia play?
Pavia did okay. Nothing crazy.
Speaking of Pavia, which I think is funny, is that did you see the clip of him on Shannon Sharp's podcast?
No.
He invited Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco out
God.
to the final 2 games, home games. And they said, we go on the field, and Pavia goes, do dogs bark? And Ocho Cinco goes, all right, that's cool. And then he goes, well, why don't you ask Theo and see what he says? And then he pans the camera, and you see Theo Vaughn with Diego Pavia's mom. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's – I did
Theo
not see
Vaughn,
that.
Theo Vaughn's quite a character.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn's absolutely nuts. Arch Manning, I know that, like I said, I'm going to get chirped about this. He went 25
Future
for
New York
33 for 328 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, granted, I did see a couple of them. One of the touchdowns was basically just a screen pass that they took to the house. I don't know, how great of a performance it really was. Now, granted,
here's what's going to happen, right? It might not have been the best performance from Arch based off what he can do.
Yeah.
But there you go. You see, he took down a top 10 ranked team.
Yeah, I got to give him credit where credit's due.
And something like that could be exactly what he needs. Right now, Arch is either A, playing to build up his draft stock, or B, playing to secure his spot as the starting quarterback for next season for Texas.
Yeah, I could definitely see
it doesn't matter if they were the favorites to win the championship or whatever, or one of the favorites, or if he was a favorite to win the Heisman. None of that matters right now. What matters for Arch is that he goes out there and plays for how many? Maybe there might be like one more week left, right? 1 or 2 more weeks.
There's a couple more weeks left.
Or a few more weeks left of the college season. And his priority right now isn't playing to make the playoffs, because I don't think they have a shot at doing that anymore.
I don't think so either.
But he's playing to set up his future.
Yeah, no doubt about it, for sure. And like I said, I have to give credit where credit's due. He definitely played well enough in that game. Obviously, he helped them upset Vanderbilt. He's played much better over the past couple of weeks, and it's something, again, I never said that he wasn't going to end up being good. I just had a feeling that it wasn't going to be as high up as people were expecting him to be, especially to start the season. He has been much better so far, and it's great. It's a good thing. Obviously, I don't think that he's in Heisman contention at all still, just because there's a lot of names that have definitely soared above him. But I think he's still young. He's got a long career ahead. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got one more year in college.
Who is in Heisman contention?
Right now, it's probably still Fernando Mendoza of Indiana, Ty Simpson of Alabama, Marcel Reed of Texas A&M, and who was the other name? There was one other guy that was up in that conversation as well, too, that I'm probably just completely blanking on right now. Julian Sayin of Ohio State.
I'm looking at the odds right now off of
It's probably betting. The 4 that I just said.
Yeah, it probably is, but I'm just curious to see.
Mendoza, Simpson, Reed, and Sayin. Those are going to be your top 4. Not in order, but those are your top 4. I'll almost bet on it. And then maybe Gunnar Stockton or Trinidad Chambliss has got to be very close as well, too.
You can keep talking.
Okay.
I'll look for it.
Yeah, you could continue to look for it then, I guess. But yeah, so Texas was able to upset Vanderbilt. That was a big one. They ended up going up 34-10 in the game. They had a 24-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Obviously, Vanderbilt made it very, very close as they stormed back and made it a 34-31 game. Obviously, Texas was able to hold on, but got very lucky as an onside kick attempt was almost recovered by Vanderbilt to put them in good shape, but the ball bounced out of bounds and was not able to be recovered, so Texas would inevitably hold on to win that game. That was a great game to watch as well, too. Then you saw another loss from the University of Miami.
I will say this right now. You are correct about Carson Beck. I'm giving you your flowers about Carson Beck. You have got Carson Beck read like a book.
Yeah, I told you. I said early in the season, I think you could probably pull it up from another episode. I literally say when Miami was undefeated and ranked as the number 2 team in the country, I said, don't worry, there's going to be a couple losses coming. They're coming. It's natural with Carson Beck. It's natural with Miami. It was going to happen. And now, not only do they lose once, they lose to an unranked SMU. Unranked SMU. By a final score of 26-20 in overtime. And the big reason why they lost the game was not that Carson Wentz played horrible, but through a very bad interception in overtime, which allowed SMU to take the ball from their, obviously, the 25-yard line, run the ball 6 times, and end up scoring a touchdown to win the game 26-20. Again, I'm glad you gave me my flowers on it. I knew from the start, he did this at Georgia as well, too. Carson Beck is a good quarterback, but he is very predictable. You know what's coming from him. The moments where you need him the most is the moments where he falls. And it's a sad thing because he does have a lot of talent as well, too. He's got a couple things he definitely needs to work on. But again, I told you it was coming. I had Miami from the very start falling off at some point because I said that they would not be able to continue
right
success
now,
with Beck. I'm sorry.
According to DraftKings,
let's see how right I am with this one now.
right now the favorite to win the Heisman.
Is Fernando Mendoza.
No. It
No.
says
What?
Heisman 2025 awards no New Jersey players. It
Okay.
says the
Okay.
favorite right now is Julian Sayin.
That's
And Mendoza is second.
who's third?
Ty Simpson.
And fourth, Marcel Reed.
Marcel Reed.
I got all the names right.
Yeah.
I said
And
in
then
no order.
Fifth is Gunnar Stockton and
Sixth is Trinidad Chambliss.
no, Jeremiah Smith.
What?
Trinidad
granted, he's
Trinidad
fantastic.
Trinidad Chambliss is 7th. And Pavia is 8th.
Listen, Jeremiah Smith, there's no disrespect there because that is probably the number one receiver coming out of college this year. He's the number one receiver in college football. But he has not put up nearly the same stat line that he did in prior years or in his first year. So,
Arch Manning is 20th.
yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah, nah, forget that. That's done with. Yeah, but I'm surprised by that a little bit as well, too. I really am that Julian Sain's the favorite. Granted, Ohio State's the number one football team in the country right now, but I don't think that it's him.
Much. It shouldn't mean much. It shouldn't mean that since Ohio State's number one, their quarterback is.
Well, no, it's because the rest of their team is extremely good. They have the number one scoring defense in college football right now. They have two of the best receivers in college football right now. They have a good run game. They have a good O-line. They have a great coach. He just happens to be a great piece for him. Not going to lie, he's been very, very good for him, but still. Heisman, that's a little bit much. I think that was a little bit much. I'd have him in the conversation, don't get me wrong, but the favorite, I don't know about that. Yeah, so another upset we could kind of talk about, I don't really view it as much of an upset, but I guess you can consider it an upset, was number 18 Oklahoma beating number 14 Tennessee this past weekend. That was a huge win for the Oklahoma Sooners as well. They won 33-27. John Mateer did not really have as great of a day passing. He only threw for 159 yards. He didn't throw a passing touchdown, but he did run for 80 yards on 16 carries with a touchdown as well in the game. Oklahoma's defense was a big factor in this one as the defense added a score early in the game, but the biggest factor was Oklahoma's run game in that game as well. They rushed for 192 yards while the Volunteers only rushed for 63 the entire game. So that was a big shocker. Tennessee now falls and has their third loss of the season. Oklahoma has 2 as they continue to try and come back and make an attempt to make the CFP playoff. And then the last one, which we did see, was the number 24 Utah Utes beating the number 17 Cincinnati Bearcats 45-17. It was an absolute mollywhopping. Devin Dampier led the way for the Utes with 213 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 INT, as well as 78 yards on 14 carries. But again, another big factor for them was their defense and special teams as they added a punt return for a touchdown and limited Cincinnati's pass attack to a 33% completion percentage. That was crazy in that game as well, too. But the thing I'm excited about before we officially get to our NFL stuff is the games of the week this week coming up for college football. We have a few good ones. So we have the number 7 BYU Cougars traveling to Texas to take on the number 8 Texas Tech Red Raiders, who are 8-1 on the season. This matchup could have big playoff implications as well, as obviously, like I said, both teams, one is 8-0, the other is 8-1, so it could decide how the seeding ends up playing out for the college football playoff. Then you also have the number 3 Texas A&M Aggies. They look to stay unbeaten as they head to Missouri to take on the number 22 ranked Mizzou Tigers at home, and they look to avoid their third loss of the season as well. Then you have the number 9 Oregon Ducks going to take on the number 20 Iowa Hawkeyes, as the Hawkeyes look to surge up the rankings and possibly crack into the top 15 for the first time this year, and the Ducks look to avoid their second loss of the season and inch closer to another CFP playoff berth. And then the game of the week for me, obviously this is the primetime game on ABC, and that is the battle between the LSU Tigers without Brian Kelly as they host the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide, and they look to hold on to one of their top spots in the SEC right now as LSU looks to avoid their another loss in the SEC column as well, especially after Brian Kelly was fired. It should be a great week of college football, but the big news that we want to talk about was this past week we saw the trade deadline for the NFL.
Well, quickly.
Unless
I know
you want to bring something
this may be a little early, but speaking of college football, I still see here, I was looking at the NFL odds for MVP real quick, just out of curiosity. But who do you think out of college is the favorite right now to be the number 1 pick?
Number 1 pick
Yes.
for the NFL?
Yes. Let's see if you know.
Oh, well, it depends on who picks. I'm assuming it's probably going to end up being either the Saints or the Titans that get the first pick, because I think they both have one.
Maybe the Jets too.
Maybe the Jets too. It depends on who picks first. Can you give me is it a quarterback?
I do believe it is quarterback.
You do believe it's quarterback?
No, it is quarterback.
Okay. Is it Fernando Mendoza?
He's number 2.
Number 2. Is it Ty Simpson?
It is Ty Simpson.
Figured that'd be one of those two. I was going to say.
His odds are plus 190 and Mendoza's are plus 290.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense, but again, Ty Simpson's seen the better competition so far, so I could definitely see them giving the edge to him.
And then Lenore Sellers is the 3rd.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm
so
sure because he played well against Bama.
If Tennessee has the first overall pick, it's going to be none of those people.
No, yeah. If Tennessee's got the number 1 pick, it's going to be a wide receiver.
It's going to be a wide receiver.
Or a running back, maybe. I don't know. It'll probably end up being a wide receiver.
It'll be a wide receiver, running back. Probably the kid from
Arizona State, Jordan Tyson.
Probably Jordan Tyson, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's him as well, too.
That's why I want the Giants to have a higher draft pick than the Titans.
Yeah, well, good luck. So anyway, we'll go into the NFL trade deadline. We did see quite a few moves that we're just going to run through the moves, that were made as well. I'll give my kind of winners and losers afterwards. You saw that obviously the Eagles trade for Jair Alexander from the Ravens in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round pick.
That is interesting because then you're thinking, okay, the Eagles secondary was okay with. You have DeJean, who's phenomenal. And you have Quinyon Mitchell,
who's also very good.
And then you saw the third corner slot, and you were like, okay, who's playing? Because you saw Adoree Jackson just give up several times, several plays, several different games. You have Keely Ringo, who can't really stay healthy. And you're like, okay, if Alexander goes to the Eagles and can stay healthy and play defense, you're looking at a very scary secondary.
Yeah, a little bit, but the thing is, Jair, for me, the thing that the Eagles tried to avoid last year was, especially when they let Darius Slay walk, is they didn't want to get any older. They wanted to continue to build young, and then they go out and trade for Jair. Does not make much sense to me.
Doesn't make sense. But
granted, he's very good. But
what the Eagles did was Jair signed a 1-year deal with Baltimore.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we'll get Jair if he can stay healthy, blah, 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 this, all that. But then you wake up the next morning at 6. I think the trade went through at like 6 in the morning or something on Tuesday.
I woke up early and saw that. And I was like, what?
And you saw Jair going to Not only did they trade for Jair, they traded for Michael Carter from the Jets.
Yes, they did.
In exchange for, is that how the Jets got John Mechie? Jets got John Mechie, and the Eagles got Michael Carter, and the Eagles sent both of them to Miami for Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, which that was very surprising as well, too. And they also gave him a 2026 third-round pick as well for Jalen Phillips.
Which I don't dislike that move by Miami.
I don't dislike it either for Miami. I don't think he really had performed to the level they wanted from him.
He didn't perform to the level they wanted from him, number one. Number two, you were paying him all this money.
Wasn't he hurt last year, too?
Well, he kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
He couldn't stay healthy. There was like a 2 or 3 year stretch where he couldn't stay healthy. But when he was on the field, he was an all-pro.
Oh, yeah.
He played at an all-pro level. When he came back, he didn't really play at that level for an entire season. So I like that move for Miami, number one. Number two, now that we're speaking on the topic of Miami, right? You go and you play the Ravens last week on Thursday night. Friday rolls around. The guy that's on the hot seat right now, that's the most on the hot seat right now is Brandon Staley. Not Brandon Staley, Mike McDaniel.
I was
sorry.
about to say Brandon Staley.
Sorry.
What did you drink this morning?
Sorry, no. Brandon Staley was the Chargers head coach that got fired mid-season. But, no. They're like, you know what, Mike? You played against the Ravens. You can't say you tried, but you went out there and you coached the game. The next day, they call him up. They're like, hey, guess what we did? We fired the general manager.
Well, to be fair, I think that was also a very smart move as well. Because I'm not going to sit here and blame McDaniel.
I'm not going to say it's not a smart move.
Yeah.
But it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, no
definitely.
doubt, yes.
But what should have happened first, it's not all on McDaniel. You can't say that.
Yeah.
But he was the the target, the hot seat. It was him and it was Tua.
Yeah.
It was obvious they were going to move off of them in the offseason.
I think they still do.
I think they do as well, but you could just get rid of McDaniel now.
Yeah, I think that they're just going to end up riding the season out with him and hoping to God that they get a better draft pick because they need a quarterback as well too. Tua, I love Tua, but man,
they had an amazing head coach and they let him go to go get Mike McDaniel. And if here's what I don't understand, they had a guy in Brian Flores, who was a great head coach.
Well, he was a better defensive coordinator.
He was a better defensive coordinator than he was a head coach. I am going to say that, but he almost got the Giants head coach position and whatnot. But what you look at I think it was the Tua was drafted in 2020?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes, he was drafted 2020. And everybody is clowning the Dolphins like, oh, you had the opportunity to take Justin Herbert. And you took and Brian Flores took Tua. People don't understand is Brian Flores told the front offices, told everybody, he goes, I am picking Justin Herbert. He said, I want Justin Herbert. I like how he plays. I like his play style. I like his whatever. That's my guy. That's what I want. And you know what they told him? You're taking Tua, not Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it's because they were afraid that Justin Herbert didn't really perform in a conference that like Tua did, where Tua did that against Georgia and some other teams as well, too. It makes sense. But, yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that whole thing as well. I knew Chris Greer was going to end up parting ways with them at some point, but I would have thought it was McDaniel
and then
first.
You have the Ravens acquiring D-end Draymond Jones from the Titans in exchange for a conditional 2026 fifth round pick.
Which I think helps the Ravens. They need to improve a little bit on that pass rush as well, too. I know they've been a little banged up. The defense played a lot better last week as well, too. Granted, it was against the Dolphins, but still, they looked a little bit better. I think that was a good move. The Cowboys getting Logan Wilson from the Bengals.
Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, I like this move from Dallas. Logan Wilson, he's a decent player. What you don't understand, right? They traded with Cincinnati for a player who didn't get any playing time or rarely got playing time on the worst well, you can't say that because the worst defense in the league. The second worst defense in the league. He got 0 playing time. And they gave up
move was bad.
a 7th round. It was granted it was a 7th round pick.
Yeah, I know,
But still,
That was a very surprising move. When I remember they announced it and they said, "Oh, Jerry Jones." He said, "I'm not going to tell you who we traded for yet, but I did make a trade." And then I woke up and saw Logan Wilson traded from the Bengals to the Cowboys
for a 7th-round pick.
What?
I was like, yeah, that. You know what that does for the Cowboys? This was the Cowboys' defense before Logan Wilson. This is the defense after acquiring.
No,
Logan
it's
Wilson.
probably about like the same thing. It's just.
It could have gotten worse.
I was very surprised
Now-
by that. The other move that I was very shocked at was Jacoby Myers getting traded
To the
to the
Jaguars.
Jaguars. I sat here and I said that last week with Mike when we were discussing potential mock trades. I said, why not the Patriots? Why not, the Pittsburgh Steelers? There were a couple teams that I floated around.
Definitely, Pittsburgh Steelers definitely could have used another wide receiver.
No doubt.
They have Calvin Austin, but Calvin Austin isn't. I'm not gonna say he's not good because he is very good.
They also had Roman Wilson too, and
They have Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, but DK is their number 1 guy.
Oh yeah, but
And
still.
it's a toss-up for the number 2 between. Well, you can say it's Calvin Austin, but adding a guy like Jacoby Myers to that locker room with his veteran presence, number 1.
would have been huge.
Number 2, he's not only mentoring Calvin Austin, he's also giving the defenders somebody else to look after instead of DK. Because right now, you're seeing Rodgers throw the ball to Roman Wilson, to Calvin Austin, because what is every defensive back doing? They're doubling DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And when he's in one-on-one coverage, Rodgers can't always get the ball to him.
Yeah, I would have thought that's for sure where he was going to go. I thought the most likely was the Patriots because it was a reunion. The Patriots have been hot, and they could have used another little bump up, that kick like a Jacoby Myers to put with Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte, or however you pronounce his last name. I thought for sure that one of those two teams was going to get him. The Jaguars, I was very surprised by because, listen, they have a winning record right now.
And they have Brian Thomas Jr.
Well, Travis Hunter is banged up as well right now,
True.
too. He's on the IR, but still, they have a winning record, but they're
They're not
really
in
impressed me.
contention to. Yeah, they beat the Chiefs, but
Yeah, they beat the Chiefs and then almost lost to the Raiders.
yeah.
They're a very strange organization. I thought that the
Speaking-
culture was going to be much, much different than that. I was very impressed.
Speaking of Raiders, awful game last night.
Oh,
Awful.
Stop.
Awful game
Stop.
last night.
Let's not even talk about it. All I'll say is if you're a Broncos fan or a Raiders fan, or if you were stupid enough to watch that game, shame on you. That was embarrassing. We've had some great Thursday night games, and then we've had some absolute ass Thursday night games. That was one of the worst games so far this year.
That
Not
very
even just
well.
on Thursday night alone. That was one of the worst games of the year, period.
There was one play that sticks out in particular for me.
Oh, good Lord. Which one?
Geno Smith throws a ball, and it hits Genty directly in the chest.
He dropped it.
He didn't drop it. He popped it up, and the Broncos intercepted it. We are in the year of 2025. And the leading receiver for both teams last night
Had 40 yards.
had 40 yards. And it was Tyler Lockett.
No, I thought it was Franklin.
No, Tyler Lockett. I don't know if he was Troy Franklin.
I know it wasn't Brock Bowers.
Troy Franklin might have had the most yards on the Broncos, but for the Raiders, it was Tyler Lockett.
The guy that they literally just signed last week.
Yes. That was the worst game. Like, that game was so bad. And then you're seeing what makes me even more upset, right, is you see Geno Smith go down in the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, Tyler Lockett had the most yards receiving in the entire game with 44 yards.
Told you.
Out of everybody.
Geno Smith went down. He came off the field, and you saw him, like, limping.
Yeah, I guess he had a quad injury.
And they put him back in the game.
Or hamstring.
They let him go back out there.
Good, they're hoping he gets hurt. At this point,
either they're hoping he gets hurt or they just don't care about his safety.
Well, that's hoping that he gets hurt, I guess. But yeah, that was such a bad game.
And then you have Genty, who didn't really do much either.
I'm sorry, but it's not Genty's fault. But
It's
their
not.
O-line is that O-line's bad. They can't create any separation. All these teams just stack the box against them because they know that they're going to try and run the ball with Genty the entire time and that the O-line's not going to help. But I don't know if that says more about how bad the Raiders are or how overrated the
Broncos.
Broncos are. The Broncos offense couldn't muster more than 10 points against that Raiders defense. Now, their defense played well. Their defense is very good. Their offense, to me, is still very, very questionable. And this is a team that's 7-2. Favorites to win the AFC West right now. All I know is that was one of the worst games I've watched. I'd be embarrassed if I was a fan of either. Even though the Broncos are 7-2, that record does not show that.
That game itself showed how demoralizing it's like when the Broncos play a good team, right?
Not even when they play a good. They almost lost to you guys.
They almost lost when they play a good team. What I'm trying to say is they play at a level, or even the way they played in the fourth quarter against the Giants, they played at a level where you can sit there and think, this offense is clicking. This offense could be a top 10 offense. But last night, you saw
that offense.
You saw prime Evan Ingram return and drop several passes in a game. Watching Evan Ingram drop those passes reminded me of the game against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When Jones tripped over his own feet.
Yeah. Now, there's 3 big trades that we didn't even mention. Let's kind of get back to the trades a little bit because then we have some news and then we'll make our picks as well.
And I do want to quickly touch upon. You can touch upon the Rams had a bye week, but I want to touch upon the Giants game.
No, we didn't have a bye week.
No, you played the
New Orleans Saints and we put belt to ass.
That's what I meant.
It basically was a bye week.
You're right.
Exactly.
So I didn't really watch the Giants game because I was in Florida at a wedding and I didn't really get because I couldn't find a channel that had it. I had to just watch it through Red Zone. But from what I saw in the stats, the Giants didn't win, but they could have.
No, they didn't play
that
bad.
Didn't play that bad. No,
they didn't play bad. The big problem was they could not stop Christian McCaffrey.
Well,
he was
they
gashing
couldn't
again.
stop Christian McCaffrey, number one, and number two, Darius Slayton dropped a wide open.
Yeah.
And that would have tied the game because at the end,
he
threw a touchdown pass to Olszewski, and that would have.
Yeah, that would have helped. But yeah, no, it was a good game. They played a little bit better than I would have expected.
I'm saying this now. Dart has been the best rookie quarterback out of his draft class by far.
So far, yeah, no doubt.
So far, Cam Ward said if they let him play the way he wants to play, the league's gonna be is gonna be effed. Like he's gonna run. You can say as much as you want. But when it actually comes to showing what you have, a lot of people were making fun of, were laughing at the Giants for taking Dart over Sanders in the first round. Right now, I do think that was the better pick.
Yeah. We have yet to see what Shedeur has to offer.
We have yet to see what Shedeur has to offer.
It's hard to say, but
I do. Speaking of, he was at that game. You saw his.
He was better than Dylan Gabriel. He's been better than Cam Ward. He's been better than Tyler Shuck.
Well, what I find hilarious is that the Browns had a bye week last week, and what did Shedeur Sanders choose to do on his Sunday?
He went to
the Giants game.
Did he?
He was at MetLife Stadium.
I did not know that.
He sat there and watched the Giants play the 49ers.
Wow. I did not realize that. Let's talk about the blockbusters here because we have 3 blockbusters. Then we'll kind of move on. I don't want to touch on the other couple because they weren't really that big moves. The big ones,
which I find, I was shocked. Well, I saw the headline. I was in the supermarket and I saw the headline and I'm like, no, that's not happening. Like, why would they do that? They just gave him an extension. He's not. Sauce Gardner got traded to the Colts.
Yep. For a first-round pick.
First-round pick this year, a first-round pick next year, and Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, to be honest with you, you know who won that trade?
The Jets.
The New York Jets. Getting 2 first-round picks for a guy that is now granted, he's a 2-time All-Pro.
He is a 2-time All-Pro, and yet.
But he's had a down year compared to what he did under Robert Saleh.
Hold on. Here's exactly what I'm going to say. You can say he had a down year. Yes, because that is true. But is it because of the way he's playing, or is it because the defensive scheme doesn't fit him correctly, and because of how bad the team is in general?
I think it's a combination of all 3 of those things.
As a player, if I was in the NFL, which I'm not capable of doing that.
Clearly not.
Neither are you.
I know. I'm just saying.
If I was on the Jets, right, I would be happy they gave me my extension, and I would give effort. I would try, but now that I feel like Sauce is on a team that's 7-2, I feel like Sauce can go back to playing at the level that he was playing at before.
I think he can too. It's just like I said, he did well under a very defensive-minded coach with a guy like Robert Saleh. That's his strong suit for sure. I know Aaron Glenn is supposedly a strong defensive guy as well too. It has not really proven that much as well.
Now,
Shane Steichen is not. That is an offensive
He's an
guru.
offensive, yes, but you look at the Colts' defense. Their defensive coordinator
Is good.
And that's exactly what I think the Jets lacked. I don't think they had a really good defensive coordinator.
That's true, but still, at the end of the day, I think the Jets win the trade. They get 2 first-round picks. They get another wide receiver. They've set themselves up to have a full rebuild, and they cleared a ton of cap.
And another thing, right, that I am tipping my cap to, the Colts realize that they're in a position right now that they haven't been in since
Peyton Manning.
Since Peyton Manning.
Well, Andrew Luck-ish, but more Peyton Manning.
And they're capitalizing on it.
Yeah.
They're looking at their success, and th're not being like, well, we don't think this is sustainable, so we're not going to go all in.
Yeah.
The Colts finally decide that they're like, well, they're what, 7-2 or 6-3.
They pushed their chips to the middle of the table.
They're 6-3 or they're 7-2. They're 7-2, and right now they are leading their division
by a
significant
lot. Well, by 2 games.
By 2 games,
or 3 games.
But still,
yeah.
They're at the top of their division. Something that hasn't happened in years. You have Jonathan Taylor playing maybe the best football you've seen by a running back, arguably ever. Like,
well, he was on pace to break LT's touchdown record in a single season. So,
but he was in a box last game though.
Yeah.
But Steelers defense. But what I'm saying here is that you're looking at a team that's finally realizing, like, okay, because what they could have done was after last game, they saw the way Daniel Jones played, they saw the way that Taylor played, and they're like, well, we finally played a team that is not a subpar, doesn't have a subpar defense, and actually like has a good shot at making the playoffs. And they saw the team struggle. Well, and what they didn't do is they didn't sit there and say, we're going to ride it out with what we have. If we make a run, we make a run.
They tried to get better.
If not, it's whatever, because nobody expected us to even be here in the first place.
Now, I will say one thing, though. There's one thing that I'm glad somebody brought up with me, and it was one of my friends. We were sitting there talking, and it was about the whole Indianapolis Colts offense. As of right now, the Steelers' defense had not looked nearly what it had looked like, or what people expected it to look like up until that game.
Trust me, I know.
Up until that game, but a lot of people are starting to realize there was something similar about that game to why the Steelers may have gone well. The Steelers realized in that game that there's 2 things that you can do to expose the Indianapolis Colts.
Stop Jonathan Taylor.
Stop Jonathan Taylor and force Daniel Jones to throw to his second, third, and fourth options. Or not his first read, because statistically, if you look...
His first read is Tyler Warren.
Well, no. My point is, it doesn't matter who his first read is. Daniel Jones, statistically this season, leads the league in throwing the ball to the first player he looks at. If you can force him off of that first receiver, or you force him onto them and you have him covered, he is going to make mistakes.
Yes.
And that's why he had the 5 turnovers, is a majority of the time he was looking his first read down, and he either got picked off or the guy was shut down and he held on to the ball for too long. That could be an expose thing. It could be. I'm not saying it will be.
That. And another thing, right? That looked like I did have access to that game.
Flashbacks.
I did watch the entire third and fourth quarter because I was out by the pool the other
it must be nice out by the pool.
No, it wasn't actually. It was actually like 65. It was like not much warmer than it is here when I was down there.
Okay,
but still, it was the sun. The sun was out though.
Okay,
it felt warmer. But what I'm saying is that as a Giants fan, right? When you saw Daniel Jones get outside of the pocket and starting to have to like make plays with his legs, that's when you saw him at his worst.
Yeah.
And I feel like I saw that a lot. I saw that happening a lot in the Colts Steelers game, because you look at the Steelers defensive line, and it's right up there with the best in the league.
Oh, absolutely.
TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward,
Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith. I know they have a very, very good defense. So it was only a matter of time before it clicked a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that it could have exposed a little bit of something, but who knows?
With that, this isn't a blockbuster trade, but they added it. I don't know if he was an all-pro type safety, but they did add a very good safety to their secondary in Kyle Duggar from the Patriots.
Yeah, no, they did.
That's not a blockbuster trade, but I do want to bring that up. It was a notable impact.
Absolutely. Now, going back to the whole Sauce thing, like I said, I think that the Jets kind of won the trade. I think it definitely does benefit the Colts, though.
Now,
so going forward, it would be good. The move that I did not like.
What I am going to say right now is, what I think the Jets, I don't know the whole contract situation for either of the two players I'm about to talk about, but if the Jets can find their quarterback, their receiving room has the potential to be very, very good. I'm saying this now.
Oh, Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell,
and John Mechie.
Yeah, no, it does. I could potentially see that.
They looked at a receive. They went into the deadline with a really good defensive players. And what they did was they used it to bolster up a receiving room, which they didn't have much talent in.
Yeah.
The talent for A.D. Mitchell is there. The talent for John Mechie is there. Like, people can say, oh, John Mechie's a bust. He didn't do what he did in college in the NFL. John Mechie didn't play his rookie year.
No.
The guy had cancer.
Yeah.
The fact that he beat cancer and is even playing in the NFL right now is amazing.
Yeah, I know it is, 100%. But let's kind of get back a little bit to the trades here. There were two more trades that I really want to talk about. Then we'll get into a little bit of NFL news, and we'll make our picks as well, too. So the two trades that I want to mention now were the Seahawks getting Rashid Shaheed from the Saints.
Yeah, the Seahawks are also going on. They also decided to go
a little bit, but I think that this is the reason why I say this is because I think this may start to become the end for Mr. Cooper Kupp. Obviously, he has not been really used that much. They make another trade for a burner in Rashid Shaheed along with Jackson Smith and Jigba. You also saw, I believe his name is Troy Horton.
Tory Horton
or something like that.
I think it's Tory Horton.
He's been good for them as well, too. Cooper Kupp is starting to kind of fade off a little bit, and it's sad to see as a former Ram fan. I really wish he would have, stayed in his
former Ram fan.
Or, well, no, that's what I meant. As a former Ram, being a fan of his.
Okay, I was about to say you're choosing the new team.
No, being a fan of his as he was a former Ram. It's sad to see him kind of fade off like this, and there will always be the love for him for what he did for our organization. So it's sad to see, but the Seahawks
I'm never gonna forget that one clip where it was after the Super Bowl when the reporter asked what he saw.
Oh, yeah. And the three-jet fire zone, and I saw the safeties drop down, so I knew I had to beat him through the secondary. I'm like, what in the
I remember seeing that, and one of the comments was, I would hate to play Madden against this guy.
Oh, yeah. No, he would suck to play against in Madden. The
way he just started spitting it out that fast.
You know what
I was confused.
You know what I'd love? For him to be an offensive coordinator.
Yes.
I'd love to have him as an offensive coordinator.
If Cooper Kupp becomes an offensive coordinator, I think that would be a really, really good offense.
Hey, Sean McVay, if the offensive coordinator doesn't really, it needs to be addressed with the LA Rams at some point down the line, bring Cooper Kupp in. I have
Same
a feeling
thing for the Giants. The Giants could use a good offensive coordinator too.
Well, they could use a good offense first. They're starting to get there, though.
You were about to piss me off.
I know, that's why
I was about to go on a rant. They are in the right direction. You almost set me off.
I know. I was only joking. I know. Trust me. I've been a big advocate. I've been a big advocate of Dart and Scatabo as long as Neighbors is healthy.
Is 6 in a trap.
Yeah, so they'll be there. The other one I do want to talk about, because the other two moves really didn't move me, I just kind of put them on here, was the Cowboys trading for Quinnen Williams from the Jets in exchange for a 2027 first, a 2026 second rounder, and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith.
I also think the Jets won that trade too.
I definitely think the Jets won that trade as well. They clear a lot of space with Quinnen Williams because he was another one that just signed a big extension.
Now
they get another first-round pick. They get another second-round pick. And Mozzie Smith was a very, very good prospect originally going in to the Cowboys. I remember when they first drafted him, people were like, whoa, I can't believe that they ended up getting this guy. He's a great player.
Now,
so
I'm going to say this, 2 things quickly. Did you happen to see the group chat between Quinnen Williams, Rashid Shaheed, and Sauce?
Yeah.
The first thing Sauce Gardner said after he found out, he goes, my brother, we're free. We free.
Yeah. Well,
and that goes to show how poorly run the Jets are, right? The one name that was big for the Jets at this trade deadline was Breece Hall,
who did not get moved.
Because Breece Hall is he is on the last year of his contract, and they are going to franchise tag him, I do believe. But Breece Hall does not want to be here.
Well, that's the thing.
He's made it very obvious he wants out, and the Jets did not grant him that.
Yeah. No,
the worst thing for you to have is a player that is on your team that doesn't want to be there. And number 2, since we are speaking on the Cowboys quickly, I just want to say, I don't know the name off the top of my head.
Marshawn Nealand.
Marshawn Nealand.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
condolences to him and his family.
I don't want to sit here and say I understand what he went through with his whole mental health illness and whatnot, but at the same time, as somebody who did struggle with mental illness, mental health issues at some point, maybe 5 years ago, it sucks, and you feel like you don't want anybody to know, because you don't want them to think less of you, or think that you need help and that you're not doing anything to try and better yourself in that situation. And it feels like the only person you can rely on is you.
Yeah.
And you're bottling yourself up. And when you're in front of everybody else, you have to put on a fake persona. I know how that aspect of it feels, but I don't know how bad his actually were.
Yeah, so the thing I'll kind of say on it, can I say something, is just, especially for that, I know it's a touchy subject. It's something that, as a sports podcast, we don't really get to touch on all that much, but I know that kind of what you were saying, there's a big stigma out there that people, especially men, aren't really able to come out and express their true emotions about what's going on inside their head, or if they're having mental health problems and stuff like that. All I'll say is I've heard it from many athletes, especially one like Patty Pimblett. That was a big project I actually did in college as well, too, when I was taking my senior seminar class and talking about advancing, or trying to rid the stigma of men not being able to speak up. As a man, as well as you, I just want to reach out to anybody out there. If you're ever going through something mental health-wise, please don't feel afraid. I know it's obviously harder or easier said than done, but don't be afraid to open up and say something. We would much rather have you talk and cry on somebody's shoulder rather than end up at your funeral. So please, it's a very touchy subject. I know it's something that we don't really touch on here, but don't be afraid to open your mouth and say something. There are a lot of people in this world that love you and that, that are here for you. Just know that you are loved by somebody, so do not be afraid to open your mouth and say something.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
What I was going to say is that, well, I don't really like to speak about this but if I didn't say what I said to one of my friends that night, there would be no Straight Outta Stratford podcast. If it wasn't for him calling the cops, I wouldn't be here. But I like, when you're in that kind of a mental state, you don't think clearly.
No, I know. It's not easy.
I wasn't thinking about everybody else. I was thinking about me.
Yourself. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to be here. But after getting the help that I got, and I started to realize that if I had done that, it wouldn't have, yes, I may have been happy, at peace, but it would have destroyed it. It will destroy your loved ones and your family. You have people that are here for you and that are there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that we've kind of brought this up. So again, Rest in peace to Marshawn Kneeland. It's very sad, especially after we saw him score a touchdown in the game on Monday night and then end up obviously tragically passing away yesterday. Our condolences go out to the Dallas Cowboys organization, his family, his friends, all of his loved ones, anyone around him, as well as his teammates. It's a sad thing to see. And, obviously, like I said, if you have any mental health issues or problems,
go get the help that you need.
You
may not think it'll work or help, but it does.
It definitely will. And like
it may feel stupid, but it just helps to talk it out.
And like I said before, it would be much better being able to talk about it with somebody and crying about it rather than, ending up passing or taking your own life. It's not something we want to see. But I know that's a very touchy subject. We'll try and segue off of it a little bit as well, too. Obviously, we talked about the Quinnen Williams trade. Obviously, we saw a lot of other news as well, too, before we kind of go into our picks this week. So Tucker Kraft tore his ACL. This past week, he's out for the remainder of the regular season, which is going to be a big loss for the Packers. We also saw Jaden Daniels break his arm. And they said dislocate. It's broken.
I want to speak upon this real quick. I don't want to say I'm a jinx because I don't want to like associate
you don't want to be
myself
associated with that, yeah. Of course.
But it does look very similar to what is happening to RG3. That's happening to Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
And I'm not associating him with that, but I'm just saying that. But what I'm going to say right now, and I do hope somehow Dan Quinn does hear this because he does need to hear this.
They should have never had him in the game at that point.
They were down 30 by what? It was like the Seahawks had what, 31 points or 37?
It was 31-7.
It was 31. The game was over. I don't know if Dan Quinn started Jaden Daniels that week in fantasy and put him in there just so he can get more points and squeak out a win. I don't know what was going through his mind.
They weren't squeaking out a win anyway.
No, I meant like Dan Quinn in fantasy.
Oh.
But like I don't know what was going on in Dan Quinn's mind at that point. Jaden Daniels never should have been on the field at that point.
I agree with you 100%.
They were in the fourth quarter. It wasn't even
late
third
in the
quarter. It was late in the fourth quarter.
He said that he didn't realize it.
He had just gotten off of. He didn't realize the.
He said he didn't realize the time on the clock. And that Jaden did that, the score was like that. He said otherwise I would have never put him out there.
Oh my God, he shouldn't be a head coach.
No,
he should.
Yeah, that was bad.
What I'm also gonna say is that the only positive for Jaden Daniels out of this outcome is that it was not his throwing arm.
Yes, I heard that as well too. He's still gonna miss some time though. There's no way.
He's gonna miss some time. His arm was literally
snapped. Yeah,
but it wasn't his throwing arm.
Can I say something too?
Yes.
Is the people that work for some of these big sports agencies, like ESPN, these journalism companies, why do you keep saying that it is dislocated? That is not dislocated. That arm
broken.
was broken.
It is broken.
And they did the same thing with Cam Scatabo and his ankle when his ankle was literally hanging. Hanging. It was broken. It was not dislocated.
His ankle was facing this way and his leg was facing this way.
Yeah. If it's dislocated, it means it popped out. Okay? That did not pop out. That thing literally went snap.
A dislocation is 1 to 2 weeks max.
Yeah, that is not a dislocation. That was a broken arm. So very, very disappointing.
What I don't like also is that I don't know if I brought this up. I probably didn't because I wasn't on last week. Is that whether it's ESPN or Amazon, they have to stop bringing up the graphics of the players and talking about their poor choices that they are making off of the field.
Yeah, focus on the sport. Enough with the off-the-field drama,
They
please.
did that 2 weeks with Rashee Rice.
I know they did it with Tyreek Hill. They've done it with so many. Cut it out. Please. Let them play the damn game. And don't bring that up. Everybody already knows about all the stuff that these guys do. That would be like us coming on every week and going, well, Kareem Hunt kicked a woman. We know. We know. We're
not
going
to do that.
It's a horrible thing.
Not. All right, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to get this straight. I don't think it's funny that he kicked a woman. It's just the way that he brought it up.
I know.
I thought it was funny.
It's not funny at all.
I'm not the kind of guy that's going to laugh at somebody getting abused, but the way that he brought it up.
But it's like they always talk about that. They'll be like,
it's the way that.
Yeah, it's pathetic They got to stop with this stuff. They put it on everything. They're going to advertise everything. When it comes to their off-field drama, everybody knows what's going on. The players are wrong for doing it. And some of them shouldn't even be in the league for doing what they've done. But obviously, these owners and the coaches don't care. They just want to put out a winning product regardless of what the player does off the field. It's sad. It's pathetic. I would never condone any of the stuff these guys do. But obviously, I'm not a coach in the NFL nor an owner, so we don't control it. But at least for ESPN's sake, you're 100% right. It's stupid.
Now, we also do see Marshawn Lattimore did tear his ACL in that game too.
And Luke McCaffrey broke his collarbone. The Washington Commanders are falling apart.
Yes. And we also do now see Michael Williams tear his ACL.
Yep, from the 49ers. Their number 1 draft pick this year. That was a tough loss.
CJ Stroud got a concussion. He's out this week.
Yep.
See Davis Mills at the helm.
Good Lord. And then Jacoby Brissett actually got named the starting quarterback for the Cardinals going forward as Kyler Murray was put on the IR.
Now, what I think is happening here is Kyler Murray was practicing and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, right before the game, he's like, oh, yeah, no, Kyler Murray's foot is still hurt. I don't think he's hurt.
I think he still is a little bit too, though.
I think I'm not saying he's not completely hurt, but I think he's at a level of where if he has to play, he can.
Yeah. I think it's strategic that they're doing it the way that they're doing it.
And I think the Cardinals are going to move off of him this offseason. I also wouldn't be surprised if what I said a few weeks ago becomes reality soon or soon-ish, because I did see an Instagram post about this. Kyler Murray is only 28. He could, if he wanted to,
go to the MLB
and play for a few years.
He could. I don't think it would be the worst option in the world.
He's not really having the success he thought he would have in the NFL. Maybe if he goes to MLB and switches things up.
Yeah, who knows? It'd be interesting to see. But we'll round out the show here a little bit, too, as well. We could skip over the winners and losers. We kind of already went over that. We're going to make our picks for the upcoming games this week to round out the show. So, obviously, the first game, obviously last night, we can't go over that game. Obviously, I wouldn't want to
We already
pick
did
anybody.
go over that game.
That game was horrible, so let's not talk about it. But we have the Falcons and Colts kicking off the week in Berlin. I am going to take the Colts to bounce back and get their win. I don't think the Falcons have really been that great. I see the Colts getting back into the win column this week.
On the contrary, I am picking the Falcons.
Okay.
Because you saw the Patriots, they had a big gap over the Falcons, and you saw what they did in the fourth quarter last week. The Falcons, they're not a bad team. All the pieces are. They're not. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and they're going to make a run in the playoffs. But what I'm saying is, all the pieces they need to be successful are there. It's just a matter of whether or not they're clicking or not.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that the Colts, just coming off of a bad week, I think they definitely want to get back into the win column, solidify that they aren't, a joke. They obviously add Sauce Gardner now. I think it's going to be a win for the Colts this week, but obviously you can disagree with that. Then we have the Browns at the Jets. I think that the Browns do end up winning this week. I think the Jets getting rid of everybody was a sign that they're just trying to tank it out and see if they can get their rebuild started.
I also will take the Browns.
And I think Quinshon Judkins should be back this week, so that should be a good sign. Yeah, I think it's hard not to go with the Browns there.
Patriots at the Buccaneers. I'm taking the Buccaneers.
Oh, you missed a game.
Oh, I did?
Well, you missed 2 games.
No.
But yeah, you did.
Oh, wait, yeah. My bad.
That's okay. We'll do that one first anyway. It doesn't matter. It's a 1 o'clock game. So Patriots at Buccaneers. Who are you taking?
Buccaneers.
I'm going to take the Patriots. I think that the Buccaneers are still a little bit banged up. Obviously, no Bucky Irving and no Chris Godwin still. Mike Evans out for some time. I think that the Buccaneers
I think they might play this week.
Oh, no, they already said that both of them have not practiced and are not expected to practice the rest of the week. So unless they practice today that we don't know after, we release the episode in a little bit, I would not be surprised if they don't play. I think that the Patriots get back in the win again. I think that they're riding the hot hand right now. Drake May's playing some of his best football that he's obviously played in his career. I think that the team looks good. I just think that, again, the Bucs are a little bit banged up.
Now we have the Jaguars at the Texans, which I did skip over. Jaguars.
There's one side of me that I know that C.J. Stroud is out, so I really do want to take the Jaguars, but there's this one side of me that's saying the Jaguars barely beat the Raiders. Davis Mills is not that bad. I think I'm actually going to switch my pick here. I think I'm going with the Houston Texans.
Now, next game we have is obviously a consensus pick.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
Lock of the week. I think
Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. I am taking the Bills all the way. I just don't see Josh Allen going out there and losing to a team that is as bad as the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I think that especially after they beat the Chiefs last week, they're starting to ride a little bit of momentum, especially coming off of that big win against Carolina 2 weeks ago. I think that the Buffalo Bills continue to get the job done. Dolphins just really have not been good. I'm going to take Buffalo as well, too. Then we have a game that you're going to be excited for, and it's the Giants at the Bears. This, for me, is my upset of the week. I am going to take the New York Giants to beat the Chicago Bears.
I'm taking the Giants only because
you're a Giants fan?
Not only because I'm a Giants fan, but I do think that they're going to win. But I'm just taking the Giants every week because I do like the Giants. That's just how it goes.
The reason why I say this is I think the Giants win just because the Bears barely beat the Bengals last week, holding on by a thread.
Also, hold on real quick. Joe Flacco, he's playing some of the best football I've seen from him in a minute.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's why, like I said, Joe Flacco came out and lit their defense up.
He threw for almost 500 yards?
Close to it, yeah. He played extremely well in the game. The Bears were lucky that the Bengals defense could not tackle. I'm taking the Giants to win.
Now that the Bengals, since they're playing well, you see somebody who is starting to have a resurgence in the offense. You have to see Chase Brown. The offense and the team wasn't that great weeks 1 through until whenever they got Flacco. Mm-hmm. And then the 2 weeks after that, he did okay got me 12. But the last 2 weeks, Chase Brown has looked like the running back that was last year.
Well, it's still, like I said, I think that it also has to do with the fact that the Bears' defense really has not been that great either. That's the big.
But what I'm saying is there are some running backs in the league that play well only when the offense is doing well. Yeah. And I think that he can be considered one of them.
I think he can as well too. But
now we have the Ravens at the Vikings, and I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm also going to take the Ravens. I think this game may be a lot closer than people think.
It's going to be closer than people think, but I do think Lamar is going to.
That's the driving factor for me taking the Ravens.
Saints at Panthers. No way the Saints beat the Panthers.
I'm going to take the Panthers. Panthers have been a very good team at home, not so much on the road, but I think that the Saints obviously giving Rashid away.
Give me for the Cardinals at the Seahawks. I am taking the Seahawks, but this is another game where I do think it's going to be closer than everybody says it's going to be.
I agree. I think that the Cardinals will give them a run for their money. I'm also going to take the Seahawks, though. I think that they still have the better roster on paper. Sam Darnold's been playing at a much higher level than I would have expected him to continue playing at. I'm going to take the Seahawks to win that game as well.
Now, we have the Rams at the Niners. And I don't know, is Brock Purdy playing this week or?
No, I don't think so.
So quickly, I'm going to say I am choosing the Rams, but I am giving my flowers to Mac Jones because you look at what he did in New England, and it was not that great. And he was a backup for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, and he was also not that great. And then he comes over to the 49ers, and he looks good.
Now, here's my comment on this. I know that obviously I am a Rams fan, so obviously I'm going to pick the Rams. But the way that I look at it right now is with the way that the Rams played against them the first time, and they lost to a team that was completely banged up. This is a resurgence week for the Rams. They need to come out and win this week. I think that Stafford continues his run.
Comes back, right?
Puka's already been back. Devontae Adams' chemistry is starting to really click now. I think this is finally the week that the Rams beat the 49ers. Thank God. I'm hoping for a big week. Obviously, you may not see me on the next episode if the 49ers win again. But I'm going to take the Rams not just because of the bias, but I genuinely think that there's a resurgence against this 49ers
We have the
team.
Lions at the Commanders. I think the Lions take that easily now, especially with Jane Daniels being out.
And Lattimore and McCaffrey. Yeah, I'm going with the Lions as well, too. They played a rough game last week. So
Steelers at the Chargers.
I to be honest, I was kind of leaning with the Steelers, but I'm going to take the Chargers.
This could be a toss-up.
It could be.
But I am going to take the Steelers.
I was also kind of leaning Steelers. For some reason, it's just
dragging me
towards
the
Chargers.
And now we have the Monday night game, which is the Packers versus the Eagles at the Packers.
Now, this one I was originally going to say the Packers for, just because.
Give me the cheese. I am a cheesehead for this game. I am choosing the Packers, not only because I don't like the Eagles, just I also do think that with the Eagles making the moves they made, even though they got better, I still don't think that they'll go into
Lambeau
Green Bay.
win. I think just for the sake of, I think that the Packers defense gives the Eagles offense a little bit of trouble this game. I think that Micah Parsons definitely has his eyes set on getting to Jalen Hurts and stopping Saquon. I
am going to be very interested in how the run game goes for both teams.
Yeah.
Because you have 2 top 5, top 7 running backs going head-to-head.
And both of them have not looked as
in
great.
Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley.
And both of them have not looked nearly as good as they have in prior years. So
No.
I'm curious to see. But I'm also going to take the Eagles in that game to win. I know it's a little bit difficult.
I chose the Packers.
I know, no, but I know. I'm saying, but I'm also going to go with the Eagles in this game. I was originally going to go with the Packers, but I think I'm going to go with the
But you
Eagles.
only say you're also going to go with something if the other person.
Whatever. You get my point. I'm going with the Eagles.
But I do not want to be associated with the Eagles.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
thank you guys for tuning in to Straight Outta Stratford, episode number 20. I'm your host, Zach, along with Julian.
and we will be here next week for episode number 21.
That's right, episode 21. See you next week.